Hi, hello, this is Fei Xie, and you're listening to Legends of Reed.
Welcome to Legends of Reed. This is Jo Anne Sukumaran, a bassoonist from Singapore. Welcome to the show, Fei. How are you doing? And Merry Christmas.
Thank you. I'm great. Merry Christmas to you and Happy New Year.
Yeah, you're currently in Minnesota at the moment.
Yep, I am I'm at home in Minnesota. It's very cold.
What's the current temperature right now?
We're looking at about 20 something degrees here.
Okay, so minus in
Mine in Celsius, yeah.
Is there snow?
Yeah, well, it snowed a few days ago, so it didn't snow this Christmas, but everywhere is white.
Okay, that's great to
Yeah,
have White
pretty.
Christmas as like all in the Christmas songs.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really glad to have some time with you, especially during this festive season. Thanks for making the time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So to begin with, could we find out a little bit about your background? So, could you tell us how you started playing the bassoon?
Yeah, sure. I started playing bassoon pretty randomly. When I was little, I was a pianist. I started learning piano when I was 4 years old. Mm, When I was about 12 or 13, I was ready to go to music school in middle school in China, in Beijing. My goal was to apply for piano department. So I had lessons with some of the teachers in the school. I quickly learned that I was not good enough to get in piano performance. But I really wanted to go into the school because that was one of the best schools in China. So I was suggested by some of the teachers there that to take a look at the woodwinds or brass departments. They can take student at that age who hasn't learned the instrument but has music background. So one thing led to another. I went to the woodwind audition and played the piano. They had an opening for bassoon. The bassoon professor asked me if I would like to learn bassoon. I told her I'll learn anything that anybody would like to teach me. So that was bassoon. And we saw bassoon the next day, heard bassoon. I really enjoyed it. Decided to study bassoon in school.
I see. So it was a kind of a random
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
I see. I see. Yeah. My journey started the similar way. I started on the piano.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it has a great starting piano helped me a lot to learn bassoon. I know music well, I can read well, so it was a very good background for me to learn another instrument.
Yeah, especially reading the entire score and playing the accompaniment for your students, right? Yeah, I think yeah, yeah. Okay. So I'm just curious, do you maybe come from a musical family?
Yes, I did. Both of my parents are Chinese musicians. They play traditional Chinese music, more specific Peking opera music. My dad is a fiddle player. He plays jinghu. My mom plays yueqin, which is English is called moon guitar. To this day, they still perform a lot in Minneapolis area. They have played with the Minnesota Orchestra twice in the Lunar New Year concerts. So they're maintaining a very active music activities. So I grew up listening traditional Peking opera. So a lot of music around my house.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's a very very specific and very special tradition, right? That is
Yes.
sometimes you don't see it anymore. I mean, at least in Singapore, it's not so common right now, I think.
Yeah, it's a very old tradition, and sometimes it's hard to continue to maintain these traditions in our current environment and society. So I think I really envy what my parents are doing, trying to promote this national treasure to the people in all over the world.
Yeah, I was quite impressed that actually in the East Coast that actually people are quite interested in Chinese music. I
Yeah,
noticed, right? Yeah, there is
yeah,
some special bodies and institutes that promote Chinese music, right?
that's correct. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So, was there a certain point when you decided that you wanted to become a professional musician?
I think it was always kind of in my life, the music, and both my parents were professional musicians. And, you know, when your parents are professional musicians, they want you to learn music kind of in a way to try to guide you towards a professional musician. So that was always in my youth. So as you can imagine, it wasn't easy for a little kid to be trained thinking that they want to be a professional musician. I had practiced a lot and but which was really helpful down the road when I was switching over to playing the bassoon. All the disciplines that I had when I was little really helped me to improve and quickly I was able to play the bassoon really well, and that gives me sort of a hope and a goal to want to do this professional.
So,
Um,
being surrounded by your parents, I assume they were also practicing a lot at home, right?
yep, yeah.
Did you not want to also maybe tinkle or play Chinese music, or you were?
See, that was the thing. I wasn't really appreciating Chinese music at that time. And they tried to give me as much space as possible for me to practice at home. So they will sometimes do it at work or not as much at home. So I have learned to enjoy traditional Chinese music later on in my life. But when I was little, it wasn't something that I was particularly interested. But I really was quite good on piano. So I was always kind of interest in Western music when I was younger.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. So, at what age did you move to the US, and did you initially face some cultural shocks moving there?
Yeah, I moved to US for undergrad for after high school. So I started at Oberlin College and studied with my teacher then, George Sakakini. Culture shock, yes, there was a lot. Basically, that was the first time I was away from home and I was in a complete different country, the other side of the earth, trying to make friends, try to study in English. A lot of things were just feeling very overwhelming.
Hmm.
I had some very good friends in school, and I made some very good friends that they were Americans. They were trying to help me, including helping my English and helping me to figure out how everything works and to go anywhere to do anything. I had a lot of help from people. So yeah, it was a lot of shock, and I was on my own. But I think quickly I was able to adapt to the situation, and that's one of the things I was feeling pretty good at is to kind of emerge into this new environment.
Yeah, especially adapting and
Yeah,
welcoming different communities. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
So, who were some of the important mentors in your musical journey?
Well, early on was my parents and my uncle and aunt. They were all the musicians in my family. They really got me started to playing music, and I've always wanted to be as good of musicians as they are. And so, but when I came to U.S. to study, two of my very dear teachers, they were very instrumental to help me to get to where I am today. One of them is George Sakakini, and the other is Ben Kamens. So they were very influential for me through my path.
So there's some particular lessons that still stick in your head from maybe any of these mentors.
Yeah. Well, when I first got to Oberlin, my English wasn't very good, but as we learning music, a lot of times you don't need to talk much. So in my lessons, it was a lot of I play, and my teacher, Mr. Sarakini, will say yes or no, and he'll play and show me something. I just remember early on there was a lot of no's when I first started, but through the demonstration, through trying to help me to understanding, I started getting more and more yes, and my ability to play got a little bit better little by little. So, I mean, every lesson there was something new that I learned, and I feel like I was trying to absorb everything that he was showing me. And then when I went to study Rice, it's they have quite different style of teaching, but I really enjoyed learning from different people in different ways. Mr. Kamens, he was really getting down on business about how I make my read well and how I have to make sure I practice slowly enough to get everything really solid in order to make music, make them sound easy. So a lot of lessons and like countless lessons. I can't really say one particular, but I just remember learning a lot from both of them.
See. Yeah, so in this podcast, sometimes we ask guests to leave questions for the next guest. And the
Uh-huh.
previous guest was Rie Koyama, and she left a question for you, which is your favorite bassoon concerto to perform.
Okay. I have to say, one of my favorite bassoon concertos to perform is the Jolivet Concerto. I have always wanted to perform the piece with an orchestra. When I was at Oberlin, I tried to do the concerto competition, which I did not win, but I really wanted to play it. So I put together a little orchestra, and Mr. Sarakini conducted, and I played on my recital. But it's interesting that now that I'm in Minnesota, I get some opportunities to play concertos, and one of the concertos that's the concerto I'm going to play at the end of the season in June.
So you're gonna play the Jolivet.
I am playing the Jolivet Concerto with the Minnesota Orchestra in June.
So it's really nice that it's actually the moment that you've been training for, yeah,
Yes,
since yeah.
yes, I
Okay.
can't wait.
Okay, excellent. So besides the Jolivet, do you have other favorite composers? Which composers work resonate with you?
Well, as bassoonists, we don't have too many big name composers that are writing for us, so I really enjoy anybody writing concertos for us. I love the Mozart concerto. I also like the Vivaldi concertos. Those are great music that's written for us. But as for other repertoire, as orchestral musicians, we play a lot of different music from different composers. I really enjoy some of the composers like Mahler and Shostakovich. I like big pieces, very rich and passionate music. Those were, or Stravinsky, who writes really
Mm-hmm,
well for
mm-hmm,
bassoons
mm-hmm.
and other instruments as well. And Brahms, also very deep in passionate music. So those are some of the music I really enjoy listening and playing.
Yeah, since we're on this topic of solos, right, in Mahler and Shostakovich and concertos, do you maybe have some practice tips for the listeners listening in? Like, for example, they want to really have this really soloistic sound and great projection. What would you advise them?
Well, first advice I would tell people is you have to practice slowly and make
Okay.
sure you practice slowly enough that you really understand the music you want to play, and you really have practiced how you want a piece of music to go at a slower pacing, or you have enough brain power to iron out all the details. The other thing is that I like to think that playing an instrument is like a voice. Oftentimes, we play an instrument, we feel like there's a disconnect. We're doing something technical. We're doing something operating a machine, trying to make it to work, and then we're trying to be musical. But I would like to think that when you're playing, when you're practicing, try to think the instrument as part of your voice and try to sing it. And when you play something, you listen to it, see if that's how you want to sing. If that's not how you want to sing, try to sing it on the instrument
So basically, an extension of your voice. Yeah.
of your voice. Exactly. That's how I would like to sing, think of the instrument, and how I like to think about making music.
Okay, some good tips to bear in mind. I know that that there was this very interesting fact in your bio. In 2012, you were the first Chinese-born bassoonist to win a principal bassoon role in American Symphony, right? That was a major achievement for you, right? I think.
Yeah, I so there are a lot of great Chinese musicians in the U.S. orchestras. A lot of string players, some woodwind players. They're there, but as a principal bassoonist in a major orchestra, it's still a very minimum amount of the Chinese musician or Asian musicians in these principal seats. So winning the principal job in Baltimore and kind of gives me and gives other Chinese musicians or Asian musicians that kind of elevated the possibilities for those of us who are pursuing in this career, that it is possible, and it is we're having more and more diversities in these big orchestras. So I thought that was a very proud moment for myself. And
Yeah, especially the recent years, there's been a lot of talk about the diversity and representation. Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
correct. Hopefully
yeah.
we'll have more.
Yeah, so I'm just curious, was there maybe a challenging moment, in the process of getting where you are, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I mean it is a very challenging profession. Oftentimes, people through years of study they try to perfecting this craft, and they going to take an audition for an orchestra. You have about 5-10 minutes of time, and you are judged by people who don't know you and behind the screens, and just you need to execute what you have learned in that short period of time. So it is very challenging, and it's totally not how we make music in real life. So it's a different skill that people learn how to do, but then we do that a lot, and we want to get into the orchestra so we can freely express how we play music. So it's very challenging that after you maybe win an audition, you get into the job, you want to sound nothing like a audition taker. You want to sound like a great musician. You want to do all this in order for people to be convinced that you're worthy of the job. So it is very challenging. I've taken many auditions that didn't get anywhere. I've taken auditions where I was really, really close more than once, but didn't win the job. But eventually I figured I have to play with a lot of preparation, and I have to play music how I wanted to play. And then when I'm really convinced that's how I think the music should sound, I'm just waiting for my luck to have the committee that enjoys my music and want to hear my music, want to play music with me.
Mm-hmm,
um, then I will get the job.
mm-hmm.
Other than that, it's it's always very challenging to try to please people that you don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a saying, right? I think Oprah Winfrey is doing her podcast, right? And she's saying that you have to be prepared, right? When luck finds you, right, or opportunity comes, right? Yeah.
You have to be prepared and be convinced by yourself and trust yourself, believe in yourself, and then the rest is out of your hand.
Yeah, I think it's like the same analogy of a farmer, right? Just
Right?
always farming every day, right?
Yes, yes.
Regardless of the results, I think. Yeah,
Right. You just have to keep doing it.
yeah, yeah. Some people think we are kind of crazy. Like, why you practice so much?
It is hard. It is hard.
Yeah,
It's hard to understand.
yeah, yeah. I think quite solitary also. I think. Yeah. So, you're also currently the adjunct faculty at the University of Minnesota. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your bassoon studio and your teaching philosophy?
Yeah, I started teaching in Minnesota, University of Minnesota, 3 years ago. That's right after the pandemic, and the studio is growing. I have some undergrad and grad student and doctoral student. This is very good place for people who wants to pursue music as well as have other interests because it's a university. And we have another faculty member on staff, Mr. Chris Marshall. He's also a member of Minnesota Orchestra. So we team together. We have performance students. We have music education students. For me, in terms of teaching philosophy, one of the things I really, really wanted to help my students is that to improve their basic ability to play the instrument, to play the bassoon, and try to guide them to sing through their own understanding, to sing through their instrument. And I want to help them to be able to think critically and always listening and thinking and eventually become their own teacher. Because, any students, they see their teacher once or twice a week, and the rest of the time, they need to work on their own. And when they graduate, they are on their own. So it's very important they can think critically and to really help themselves when a challenge is encountered, and they can quickly identify the challenge and try to find a way to overcome the challenge, and in order to continue to improve and to pursue what they really want.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, I know you're also a principal bassoon in the Minnesota Orchestra.
Yep, that's correct.
Would you like to tell us a little bit of your work there? I know that you were quite busy with the recordings, right? Mahler recordings.
Yes, when I first joined the orchestra, it was in the middle of the Mahler cycle recordings. So I have played in some of the Mahler recordings in the recent years, such as Mahler 1, Mahler 4, 6, 7, all these big Mahler pieces. And it was really an honor to be part of this project. And I have all the recordings and listen to it all the time. And I think, after I joined the orchestra, we also went on some tours. We went to London. We played the BBC Prom, as well as South Africa. We went tour 5, 6 cities in South Africa. And I think it's a great experience for the orchestra to bring music outside of our community, and it's a bounding experience for the orchestra as well, but it's also a opportunity for the orchestra to go on to this international stage, and not only that, but going to different communities to bring the beauty of music to people.
Yeah, it's so exciting, right? I think South Africa is so beautiful. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah, it was a great experience.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so during COVID, the pandemic, how did you stay busy with the bassoon and stay positive?
Yeah, at first it was very hard because it's very unknown. You don't know how long this thing's going to be and what it's gonna be like for our lives. But orchestra quickly picked up. We at first we closed down, and then we did a lot of studies and a lot of safety measurements. So we back into the concert hall, and the orchestra started having invested in equipments to have live broadcast concerts without audience in the hall. So after a little bit, the orchestra started back to work again, and we were able to producing all these concerts and to people all around the world. You can watch from anywhere if you have internet, because it was live broadcast in real time, and those concerts has been archived since, and now it's made available for people to watch for free. So to have that, to know that we're still making impacts, we're still delivering music to people who love it and can't really go into the hall to listen, it really helps you to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. You feel like there's still hope, and this is going to come to an end, and we are going to back play again. But at first it was hard. We had some little in-home concerts at home. My wife is a flute player. We played some duets together, we recorded, put online. It was very challenging, but we as musicians, that's our outlet to play music and to know that people are watching, that people are listening, they're looking forward to it. It's just a great feeling. I played Mozart concerto during that time without audience, and it was live broadcast.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that because I saw you standing in the middle of the orchestra and I thought this must have been a closed door session,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
It was because in the first we had the rehearsal in a regular way. We're standing for an orchestra, but there was time the orchestra will have to put anybody that are on stage are 6 feet apart. So I have to be standing 6 feet apart from the conductor, director Osmo, and then our concertmaster have to be 6 feet away from me, and that's just too far for any of the strings to be able to communicate with each other. So he had this idea of having me standing in the middle of the orchestra where the strings can be in coming in, and I was a little bit where I normally play in the orchestra on stage. So that was a very interesting experience, and I really liked it, the setup, because we had the cameras around so they can actually zoom in on me, and people can actually see. So there was really no use for me to stand in front of the orchestra because there was no audience.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's quite like it's as if you had a choir around you or something. Yeah. Super cool. Yeah. So we talked so much about music and work and so far. In your free time, what do you like to do? Or do you have some hobbies?
Yeah, in between teaching and playing in the orchestra and our family, I have two boys. I rarely have free time. A lot of free time I use to make wreaths. Uh, when we have a chance, start from a few years ago, when we have a chance, we like to travel. We have been to uh, places where as a family, we've been to Iceland, Italy, and we've been back to China and some national parks in U.S. And so we enjoy this experience as a family, and especially for my boys to kind of see the world and traveling around the world. I think it was a great experience. So that when we have a chance, when we have free time, that's the things we like to do.
Okay. Nice. Are they currently in high school or?
My older son Kevin is in high school, freshman in high school, and younger son Colin, he's in fifth grade. They're both musicians as well. One plays piano, Kevin plays piano and flute, and Colin plays cello.
Nice. That's a nice compliment. Then you can play some duets or
Yes,
trios. Yeah,
that's the goal.
that's
One
the
day we're
goal.
gonna play some duets together.
Great. Yeah. So now that it's Boxing Day, right, in the US, right? It's 26.
That's right.
Yeah, here it's 27. So it's like kind of the second or the third day of Christmas. And then last night I was doing some groceries in the supermarket and they're already playing Chinese New Year songs, you know.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite Chinese New Year traditions that you practice and celebrate?
Well, one of the things I remember when I was little, the things I really look forward to was to getting the red envelopes.
Hongbao.
Yeah, the hongbao. Yeah, the elders they put money in there and they give this to you, and you get good wishes, and then you spend the money, buy anything you want.
Yeah.
But also, I really enjoy the family gathering, and we eat a lot of food. We cook a lot of great Chinese food. But just the whole celebrating the time together as a family, that's something that I really look.
Do you also give the Mandarin oranges or like from China has a different tradition?
I have never done that before, but I've heard that before.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe it's a Southeast Asian tradition. Here we
maybe.
give two oranges when we have to 拜年.
Oh, okay.
And that's how you get the 红包. You have to give the orange.
You get the orange. Okay.
Yeah, there no. For you, though.
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe we'll try that this year.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so do you have some upcoming concerts and projects that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is playing the Jolivet concerto with the
Uh,
orchestra, and
uh,
that's going to be in June. And that is also a concert that's going to be a live broadcast, so it will be online. So I better practice really, really well.
okay, I hope to watch it because the time difference is quite big.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. And finally, if you could leave one question for the next guest,
Uh-huh.
what would it be?
I get this questions before, so I think I will leave this for the next guest. I don't know if your next guest going to is a bassoonist or an oboist, but my question will be if they don't play their current instrument, what would be the instrument they wanted to play?
Yes, good question. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mine was cello.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
close, close
Yeah.
family with.
Yeah. I saw so many videos of Yo-Yo Ma, and then I wanted to play cello, and then my first teacher was like, "Joanne, stop it. You have to stop watching cello videos."
Yeah, yeah, just
Yeah,
beautifully.
yeah. It's been great talking to you. Hope you
Likewise.
have a nice evening now because it's still Boxing Day over there.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much for having me, and it was great talking to you and talking to have our audiences to watch this. Yeah, hope you have a great New Year and
Yeah,
Chinese
thank
New Year as
you.
well.
Yeah.
新年快乐。
Okay.